I think we're good. I think we're streaming. Dream cartographer. Oh, shit. You're supposed to chat first. Sorry. Hello, people who are here. Not naming names. My dog is whining because he wants to go downstairs, but he can't. Okay, I'm going to move the microphone. I can already tell that I'm too quiet. Oh, I was going to get a beer. Shit. One second. Baloo? Yeah. Okay. I got the beer. We're good. We're good. Let's see. Has Discord already popped? Has it already done the thing? No? Why? Why hasn't it done the thing? Sorry, maybe I'm not supposed to show that. I'm live now. Oh shit, I can never remember my... Yeah, we're streaming art. Hello. I can never remember my... I'm glad you think so. My URL. Although I could probably just scroll up in stream chat. Wow, there's been a lot of chatting in here recently. Thanks to one Rinzai. I appreciate you. You should be doing the stream, man. You are the shining beacon in the community, keeping everyone talking. While I struggle with immigration. Fuck no. Immigration, it turns out immigration is a little more difficult than one would imagine. I thought like, oh, I'm American. The Germans will, they'd be falling over to have me come to their country. Hey, baby. My wife's phone was making very loud sounds, but she has she has her headphones in and can't hear them. Oh, believe me, I know. The voice? Do you have do you consider yourself to have a not pleasant voice or something? I'm going to be lurking, mostly working on some images. Hell yeah, do it. That's what this is for, right? Hell, I watch streams to go to bed. Oh, did I? I didn't mean to look at the camera when saying baby. It just so happens that the camera is placed exactly in between my monitors, which is also, my monitors are placed exactly far enough apart that I can always see my wife sitting on the couch so that we can talk to each other during the day. It's multiple things, okay. I mean, if somebody, yeah, it's very cute. If somebody doesn't want to If somebody doesn't want to stream, that's totally fine. I'm a big fan of streaming. The only thing that sucks about streaming is that you have to stream for like hours and hours and hours, and that's not really my thing. Like back in 50, 60,000 years ago, in 2013, I was doing this podcast. It was like the first thing I ever did. It was during a time when I wasn't really confident in my writing and I wasn't writing a whole lot. But I wanted some kind of creative outlet, and podcasting was just starting to like it was a thing that wasn't just on iPods. People were like, wait, what is a podcast? Is that a device? It was like right as people started figuring out what podcasts were. And I was just doing this kind of dumb comedy show where I would just talk. And that fit really well for me. This was all before, like, Twitch was there, but it wasn't what it is now, right? And so this was all just super new for me, and I was doing these podcasts, and I loved the podcast format because it was, as long as I would set it, as long as I was consistent, right? So like I could say, okay, my podcast is 1 hour long. It comes out once a week or once every 2 weeks, and I just kind of talk about whatever I'm going to talk about. And I had people were listening, people were following. And then I ended up shackling myself to kind of like, he's a good guy, but I shackled myself to this like crazy conspiracy theorist guy. This crazy conspiracy theorist guy who went utterly mental while we were doing the podcast. Like something about giving him a microphone turned him into a crazy person, like even more. Like he thought that when we were recording, he thought that we were literally like that the FBI was listening and they were going to come arrest us because we were like, I don't even know. We weren't even doing anything controversial. Like he was like, the government's bad, right? And I was like, I'm just here to make jokes, man. But then he would like go full Alex Jones and like red in the face and freak out. And eventually I was like, I gotta go. I can't do this. I'm out of here. And so I left. I gave him all of my equipment. Like I was so upset. I was so freaked out by it that I was just like, you keep it. I'm gone. I'm out of here. And so I ran away, and I did that podcast for like 3 years. Okay. So, I was saying, I'm simply the voice, but you are the heart and soul. I see. Okay. That makes so much more sense. Yet I'm not confident in my physical voice either. I also know about immigration struggles. Do you? Interesting. Who hasn't shackled one? It's a dime a dozen these days. Like you can't fucking get away from it. It seems like no matter where I go, I run into more of them. I'm like, God, please. You are the FBI? Shit. It was nuts. Yeah, that guy really, like, he really went out of control. Out of control crazy. And it sucked because he's a really funny dude, and I'm not kidding when I say he might have had the best radio voice ever. He was from like upstate New York, like Buffalo area, so he had that kind of like New Yorker accent, but it wasn't a very thick accent, but his voice was really deep, and it was really pleasant to listen to. And the dude was just hilarious. He was one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. But then like he got a whiff of like In the Blood, like blood in the ocean. And of course my dog needs to have sex with his bed when I'm doing the stream. Like it's like clockwork, just bang. So yeah, he just, the moment he smelled blood in the water, it was like Alex Jones times a million. Yeah, it sucked. I've known those. Yeah, they often have a sense of humor. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, and they're very charismatic, right? I mean, my dad is like this. My dad is like a hardcore conspiracy theory guy, and he's really charismatic. He's really, really good at like making you believe what he's saying based on his, like, the way he projects himself. It's weird. It's a weird trait that I don't understand, and it just rubs me the wrong way, especially now, especially after the years of it. I was like, now if somebody's like, do you have Signal? I'm like, no, I have whatever text app that goes directly to the CIA. That's the one I have. No offense, but yeah, no, totally. I mean, that's how all of these work, right? That is this mentality. Like the mentality of a dictator is the mentality I mean, I don't want to like equate all conspiracy theorists to Hitler, but I do think that they share a similar mentality, right? Where it's believing things not in evidence, but in faith. And, yeah, maybe we shouldn't get into this on this stream. This is a little too, yeah, cults as well. This is already a little heavy. We were going to play some pork or bacon. That was what we were going to do. So yeah, let's play some pork or bacon. Speaking of conspiracy theorists, with our, no, I'm just kidding. I completely believe that you had legitimate struggles with itch on this one. This was very much a group effort. Okay. Why did that do that? Why is it this? Oh, there we go. The last days of pork or bacon. Love the art already. It's great. Okay, so before I actually get going, though, I wanted to kind of reintroduce the stream. So this is WJG Games. We're going to be doing our our third stream on the Narrative Game Jam number 2. And the theme, or the restriction for Narrative Game Jam number 2 was writing in scene format. That ended up not coming across in the way that I had hoped, because... And it was my fault. I didn't explain it very well. But so to give you a sense of who I am, my name is Dylan Davis, also known as Cathartigan. I have an MFA in creative writing from Southern Illinois University, and I'm a pretty good writer, right? I mean, I can't say that I'm good at a lot of things, but there's like 2 or 3 things that I'm really good at. I'm really good at writing. I'm really good at parking, and I'm really good at making electronic cigarettes taste better. I don't know why I'm really good at that, but I'm just really good at it. Like if you have an electronic cigarette and you're like, it doesn't taste very good. I'm like, did I do it? And then it tastes good. I don't know why I can do it. But the writing one is probably the most interesting. Maybe. Actually, the cigarette one might be more interesting. But yeah, so what I was taught in my MFA and what has been passed down for generation after generation after generation of writers is that if you're writing in scene format, then your characters and the story itself naturally has more emotion and more emotional movement through the story, right? So and what is a scene? A scene is going from one emotion to another, right? So a scene is not a camera shot on something, and then when the camera cuts away, the end of scene. Oftentimes those things coincide, but that's not actually what it is. A scene is just moving from one emotion to another. So if a character is sad in a scene, then they leave the scene happy, and that's the end of the scene, right? If they are hungry, then they leave the scene full. And this is a requirement. It's an unwritten requirement. It's an unspoken of requirement. And it's one of the reasons why some fiction is good and some fiction is not good. And it's often one of the reasons why people don't understand why some fiction is good and why some fiction is not good. Well, why did that story make me feel this? And why did this story not? Probably because it wasn't written in scene. And so the restriction for this jam was to write in scene, which is that being make a game that has an emotional change from whatever to whatever, as long as it's an opposite, right? You can't go from happy to happier. You have to go from a negative to a positive, positive to a negative, right? We've had some disagreements on the Discord about that, but that's okay. I'm going to scroll back through the chat real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything. 9 people contributed. Wow, cool. You didn't tell us not to write in Latin. Yeah, true. I did not. Writing in Latin is just part of Caton's right. Caton, like the dude's an enigma, right? Caton's not even his real name. Did you guys know that? It's not. I don't think I can say his name on stream, but it's a wonderful Frenchman name. Yeah, he wrote it in chat. So Caton's not his name. That's a reference to some Latin thing. Oh, it's okay. It's fine. I honestly don't think he gives a shit. But yeah, it's a reference to the dude lives and breathes Latin. Like how could I fault him for that? It's the best thing I've ever run into. I can't believe the hardline dedication to it, where he's going to make a game that like is literally only in Latin. And it makes no effort to teach the player. I mean, he gave me an update. I'm going to play it today, but I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to see if he added any amount of English or anything that indicates what I'm supposed to do in that game. Because once again, if you can speak Latin, it's great. If you can't, it is impenetrable. But I love him for it. I love it. I love that stuff. I hope that stuff in 150 years gets discovered on some hard drive, and the future generations are like, what is this? And then that gets put into a library because it deserves to be there, because it is beautiful. Anyway, you could write about the cigarettes while smoking them. True. Writing in anime form, yes, in reference to the scene structure. Yeah, anime doesn't follow it, but the anime also does a lot of other strange things, like explain what characters are doing literally while they're doing them. Once again, not talking shit about it. I just don't get it. Let's see. Teaching Latin is straight up his job. It is indeed. I sort of understood some things about the jam. Oh, no, in the game. Oh, okay, cool. All right. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and Respublica. I also love that he uses his own voice. By the way, I love that he uses his own voice in the game. It's so charming. Okay, no more stalling. Last Days of Porky Bacon. New game.
I was a piglet, born with hope and joy.
Okay. Well, I don't need to read this time. This is already awesome.
A fitting occupation for a boy.
A fitting occupation for a boy is hope and joy. Okay.
I thought not how our parents disappear,
Okay.
nor why some wear a number in their ear. I used to oink with certainty and charm. The finest female pigs come from the farm.
What the fuck?
But that would not behoove me much right now.
The bug.
It won't unmove the curtains for the sow.
No.
And everything I grew to dread and fear.
I love the cursor, by the way. The hoof.
I must confess, I found it all right here. The mess, the stress, the lonely daily chore. I found it in the jailing of a bore. So now that I am old, my thought is new. The unforetold shall be my point of view.
The unforetold shall be my point of view. Okay.
Mueller, you're such an ass.
I'm only half. The rest is mare.
What?
So, you half-ass all which pass for wisdom.
Of that I'm aware.
I'm telling you, I made it. I got out.
Of that I am persuaded and don't doubt.
Then why are you so jaded?
I bade you. What was it about?
I found a home where I was welcomed warmly and respected. Normally, I would have been rejected.
Formerly, you've yet to be corrected. That was not the place where you belong.
And yet, that loving face, that soft and open space,
The art is great.
felt so right. How was it wrong?
I'm not sure about the story yet because I'm still kind of taking it in. But I mean, it's written well.
It matters not how much we feel. We are the master's property. That was the deal.
It was no deal. I properly recall my having made.
It was not yours to make, for boars have seldom farmers swayed.
Whoa.
You call me bored. You are boring.
I'm not digging what you planned.
I cannot hear you. I am snoring.
Hamilton, please, spare this mulish man.
Hey man, whose side are you on?
That's the trouble with us pigs, you see. We see too much of either side, and not not enough of what's before us, right under our noses.
That is spoken like a pearl.
How did you get across the fence?
I burrowed. That's just common sense.
Why is it written in this, like, in couplets? I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm curious as to what the idea behind it was. Was it just because you wanted to write in couplets?
Back then, that fence was not so shocking.
Since I tried again, I've had.
Why not? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I was just wondering if there was a reason, like, you know, why choosing couplets, and, you know, why not have it in villanelle or you know, in Huzzle or something. Probably so that you can kind of keep the sonnet form, right? The game, yeah, the writing is good. It is definitely very good.
And no issue talking.
Gives it a rhythm, right? So it's almost like a sonnet.
I am due 3 days from now.
You? Holy cow.
All of these puns. A villanelle. It's just another poetic form. You know, the rage against the dying of the light, like the poem by Dylan Thomas. That's a villanelle.
It can't be true. Not you. Hawker, my dude. That bastard. Wish the master could be mastered. Maybe if he keeps on getting plastered, he will die far faster. Damn.
I feel like there was a good rhyme for festered there. I don't know why. A Dylan, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm named after Dylan Thomas.
I swear, I will not let you come to harm. The two of us shall quit this cursed farm.
Or bring more harm to those who quarter you.
Okay. The TV, my wife walked away from the television, so now it's playing advertisements, and we're just going to have to live with that. I'm sorry.
Thanks, but no. Just one retort.
Did one person do all the lines? Yeah, German TV. It's very interesting. It's very interesting for me to watch, because I don't understand what they're saying. And, like, an advertisement for milk is, like, hilarious to me. But did one, oh, it was 3 actors? Interesting. Okay, yeah, I mean, I heard the distinctness. I was just wondering if it was, like, one person who was, like, radically altering their voice, or if it was 3. I really like the voice acting, by the way. I'm really happy that was added to the game. I feel like, I mean, I understand that it's one of the most time-consuming and expensive parts of making a game, but playing Disco Elysium with the voice acting versus without, I mean, it's like impossible for me to think of going back and playing it without, because it's so much better with the voice acting. At this point, the mule has returned to his oats. Porker glimpses the Holy One standing just beyond the electric fence. You ever wonder what the Holy One would say? Maybe the chicken flock would like to talk. And what about the sheep? Are they good friends? You think the shepherd dog cares for our woes? I'm very interested in the god, the Holy
I
One.
wonder what the Holy One would say.
Don't know her. I'll steer clear of them.
Maybe the chicken flock would
Maybe
like to
the
talk.
chicken flock would like to talk.
It cannot hurt. They love to squawk.
Mission unlocked. Talk to the chickens. And what about the sheep? Are they good
What
friends?
about the sheep? Are they good friends?
To one another. Yes. But us? Depends.
Do you think the shepherd dog cares for our
I think the
woes?
shepherd dog cares for our woes.
Not really, but keep dreaming, I suppose.
How is a pig to reach the chickens then?
I'd start by picking items from the pen.
Thank you for all your help, comrade.
The TV started playing. The TV started playing when you walked away. It's okay.
Hog speed you.
Hog speed.
Death to farms.
So this is kind of like a reference to. One sec, sorry. Whoa. Please don't tell me I crashed it. I have to turn it. I have to turn the game down. I have that problem again where like I can't listen to the sound while talking. So this is like a kind of an extended reference to Animal Farm, right? It's almost like Animal Farm in poetic form. It took me like a week to realize the cow is the holy one because of holy cow. A bit? Okay. I could go for a drink like any swine. Too bad I have to walk to pull the line. Oh, right. The pig, like, rolls moving are wonderful. Okay, it seems like my dreams are in fading hope. The water's at the end of its own rope. An egg from Easter past. Now here's a gem. It's not much use to me, but less... Can I drink? Or did I already do that? It's possible I already did that. Yeah, I also didn't catch the holy cow thing. Yeah. But this is interesting. So it's like an adventure game, right? If everyone should wish to catch a boar, one need but put a latch upon the door. Such is life of pigs, to sort through dirt. Well, I suppose that taking some won't hurt. It's definitely an interesting challenge. What is this? Whoa. Oh, so many days I've wondered what's beyond. And many ways I blundered to abscond. Right. Sorry. Okay, alright, so that doesn't work. Okay, can I put the mud on myself? Can I put the mud on the latch? No. Okay, I can already tell you I'm going to need a little bit of help because the one thing that I have never been able to do is complete an adventure game without a walkthrough. I've played many adventure games, but I always I play them for the story, and then the second that I get to the puzzle, I'm like, okay, what's the... Oh, there's a crack in the fence. Ow, that rusted nail has cut my hoof. Now I get to carry it as proof. Hook line. Okay, let's try the hook line on the latch. Wow, this is really cool. I'm out. The last days of pork or bacon coming soon. Okay. So where's the scene? I think there is one there actually. And I'm particularly interested in the way that was animated at the very end. There was something really visceral about the animation. So it starts with a brief little preface, right, where he says, when I was a pig boy, I was full of joy, right, and everything was great. But then as I grew older, I developed existential angst. As I realized what the plight of my kind is, which is to be eaten, right? You'd have gotten some emotional changes. Oh, okay, my bad. Well, let me just go back there real quick then and just kind of skip through this. I'm gonna mute it for a second. This will take a while. I don't think so. It's okay.
I'm not digging what you play.
I cannot hear you.
Okay. So
Hawk speed you. Okay.
I think this combo is good, possibly.
This combo's good. Possibly great.
Make the hook and line, then talk to Hamilton. Okay, cool.
Beware. Our fate is in your hands.
Okay.
Hawk speed you.
Okay. Kraken fence. Water spout. Wait. Bug save the day. Was there a bug? Now here's a gem. It's not much to use for me, but at least for them. Oh. Okay, so make hook line. Now talk to Hamilton. Right? I just want to make sure so I don't have to restart. Yes, okay. I picked up some items. Now what do I do? Don't worry, I know how to make my moves. I think this combo's good. I'm assuming it's I picked up some items. Now what do I do? The last one. I think this combo's good.
I think this combo's good. Possibly great.
Then test it there upon the wooden gate.
Don't worry, okay.
Beware.
Don't worry, I know how to make my moves.
I know how to make my moves.
You will have to long for morale increase.
Okay, so that's some emotional... An emotional change for Porker. No. I don't think that that's a non-change. I think that is quite a change, right? Like, because what it is like Porker seems. I guess in essence, what I'm kind of getting is that there might be like two scenes, but what I'm looking at or what I kind of experienced through the narrative was he's. No, actually, no. There's one scene. I think it's one scene. It's kind of a long, drawn-out scene, but I think it's one scene. So, like, because he just lets us know at the beginning of the story, like, hey, I was sad when I was a boy, but or no, I was happy when I was a boy, but now I'm like, now I'm disheveled and despondent, and I don't know how to go on, and then. When the way that line is delivered, where he's like, I think this is good. I know I can do this, right? Like, I can do something about my situation. That's going from resignment to affirmment, right? I'm resigned to my fate. I'm going to affirm it now, right? And so that is an emotional arc in the narrative, 100%. So in that regard, okay, good, yeah. Then yeah, I would say that you did basically, you affected exactly what you meant to. Which is good on you. Cause yeah, I think this is the kind of thing that we need to talk about a little bit with games, right? And this is going to be one of the things I think is going to be a little bit of a problem. Well, not necessarily a problem, but it's a thing that I think is going to have to be overcome in narrative games, which is that games just don't operate completely like stories do. Right? They just don't. In the same way that, like, when you play Uncharted, right? In an Uncharted game, the cutscenes are in relatively well written scene format. They're pretty good. It's kind of a dopey like action story, right? Without much. I mean, I don't know. The fourth game is actually a pretty well written game. There's just a lot of dumb plot holes in those games, but they're very good at it. But the thing that so even in an Uncharted game, which is very well written and has some of the better writers in the industry working for them, they have the unique problem that people don't expect to just be told a story in a game, right? They expect other things like dialogue, being able to choose dialogue options, being able to extract more information from other characters. Now, it might, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily the case, but it might get exhausting if every single one of those is written in scene format. I think Disco Elysium did a really good job with it. I felt like everybody I talked to in Disco was a scene into themselves, and every character meant something, right? Where like I would talk to them and they were not simply an information vending machine. They were a person, and my experience with that person as the main character in Disco Elysium felt very seen, in scene, right? And so, but the games do have this this need for gameplay, and so like you could have a really well written scene in Uncharted, but then we have to have 25 minutes of climbing around, you know, cliff faces and stuff. And one of the things I think the games are getting better at, and one of the things I think that we need to be continuing to think about as we grow up with the medium that we love so much, is that we need to figure out how to make that stuff seen as well, right? So like climbing up a climbing puzzle in Uncharted, it could be written and seen. And I think that the Uncharted games do a pretty good job with it, right? They do a decent job of like the characters talking to one another, like with the banter. It could be stronger, but there could be just more of it, right? There could just be more attention to the emotional detail of the character. But I do think that like this whole like poem thing, it's working for the game. Obviously, this wouldn't work in every game. Yeah, sorry. You're fine for congesting chat. I tend to go on these like rants while I'm talking, and I forget to look at chat. We have the power, loves it. But yeah, so like, so it's interesting because like, in a sense, I still feel like I got the kind of life affirming narrative of Porker Bacon in the animation of him throwing the thing over and like ripping it out. And he's like, I'm going to go do this, motherfucker. I got that without the dialogue, but I think the dialogue actually just deepened it. And that's something I think that games are going to be able to do, but it's also a hindrance, right? It's a hindrance and it's a strength, because like finding that information really strengthens the character because it feels like I'm the one who discovered it. But it's also a hindrance in that, it's hard to author content in games. It's just it's hard to do it. Right. That's why like my game, my wife is making faces at me. That's why in my game, there was just basically no interaction whatsoever. Because it's hard for me to create a fictional game world in which authored content can exist. Sorry, she's making funny faces. We wanted every element to convey it. Yeah, I mean that's how it should work. Exactly. Every element of a story should convey it. Every single element of a story should convey the emotion, right? If you're going to describe a cup, the cup has to be as sad as the character. Does that make sense? Well, since a lot of the options are optional or interwoven instructions, I think we managed easy. Yeah, I would say so. Sad cup is sad, yes. If the character takes a moment to notice a cup and they are sad, there has to be something sad about the cup. That's what an objective correlative is. Because if the character just notices a cup and it's a cup, then they shouldn't have noticed the cup. The cup has to be sad. God, I love Bellheimer beer. Sad face, cup. Indeed. Yeah, I mean, like, this is just how it has to be. However, and here's another great example of this, though. In games, you don't really have this option. Because in games, you have to make the environment regardless. Now, you can think of it differently. You can think of, like, so, okay, another great example, Disco's opening scene in the apartment. Every single thing in that apartment, or not apartment, hotel room, Every single thing in that hotel room is exactly what the character is feeling the moment they wake up. Every single thing. And it's brilliant. It is utterly, utterly brilliant. I tried to make the string sad. Yeah, you did a pretty good job of that, I would say. You know what could also be pretty interesting is like if the string is sad and the nail is sad, but then you have one moment when Porker combines the two items, he could say something that is like the combinations of items. I mean, you kind of have it when you go talk to the guy, but him saying something to himself actually might help with that a lot, because the string is sad, the nail is sad, right? And then the combination of the two things is a great objective correlative for the character, right? He's putting two and two together. He now knows what his mission is. He now knows how he's going to go about doing something, right? I mean, it doesn't need to be long. It could literally be like a one sentence. Like, I mean, he could even say like a couplet that's just like, I did not know that my mind could grow. Should I combine two things in twine? You know what I mean? So they like, don't use that. That was shit. But like, but it just something to affirm that the combination of two things is to the character himself is good, because like I think it really slams it on the head when you go talk to Hamilton, because the way that he conveys that line where he's like, I did a good thing is really awesome. Okay, so do people have questions before I move on? Does anybody have any questions? Oh, Catan is here. I'm assuming there are no questions, so I'm going to exit. Someone other than Rinzai talks. I mean, you were up, right? It was your game. I'll fully F for it. Okay. All right, Catan, you're here. You're here, right? That's true. I'm not going crazy. You really are here. Yeah, he might be feeding his kids. Where is Mr. C? I missed that motherfucker. Oh wait, that's the wrong electronic cigarette. Okay. Erbium Raider. I'm delirious, by the way. That's why I'm uncensored. It's fine. I mean, if you want to go to bed, you know, it's your bedtime, maybe. Okay, for some reason, once again, Steam VR launched. Ooh. It's fine-ish. Okay. Well, very first thing, of course, as is tradition, turn that shit right down. Not mute. Ooh, still too loud. I'm sorry, y'all will just have to bear with me. If you need to hear the audio, go play the game. All right. Cicero amat rem publicum. Postie. Cicero non amat ruinum. So, I don't know what non amat means, but I'm assuming Cicero doesn't like ruins. And if I remember correctly, Postia goes, yeah, Postia goes forward, Antia goes back. Postia. Cur res publica ruina fit. Cicero ain't loving it. Not loving what? The ruins? Cur res publica ruina fit. Some year 63, or maybe minus 63. That's probably what it is. 2021, it looks like this, I think. Why does the state collapse? Did you just look that up, or do you speak Latin? Are you acting as my translator? Looked up? Okay. Okay. Repello hostis qui rem publicum delera volunt. I'm assuming this means be a dick. Invito amicos. Qui rem publicum defendera volunt. So, be nice. Okay, repel hostiles. Invite friends. Question mark, question mark, question mark? Hostis venit. Hostum non repello, hostum repello. Amicus venit. Amicum non invito, amicum invito. Who want to defend the Republic? Hostis venit is hostiles coming. Amicus venit is friends coming. Okay. What is minus 20 RP? Don't repel the hostiles. Repel the hostiles. To a amicum non invito. Amicum invito. So don't invite friends, okay. Do you see what I mean? Like, hey, you get 50 experience for okay, hang on. Mr. Catan sent me a little guide. Oh. Okay, I think I know what to do. If you get enough XP, you win. Rostra is the location. I think I get it. Thanks to reading the thing from Catan. So... Oh, no. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So what I'm supposed to do is keep friends here and repel enemies. It's a tower defense game. Go away. So what you're supposed to do is keep the red men away from the rostra. Wait, come back. And you're supposed to keep the green people in. These can be in or out, I think. Ah, Crassus, you motherfucker. Get away. Oh, oh. No, 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 no. Oh, shit. This is actually kind of brilliant. Now that I understand what I'm supposed to do. No. No, no. Get out of here, Toga. The addition of the brass, yeah. Wait, 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 wait. Don't leave. Okay, here comes some Redmen. Don't you go anywhere, Marcus. Okay. Oh, lo, lo, oh, lo, lo. Get out of here, Rex. And Rex, too. Yeah, get out of here. No, Marcus, come back. We need to maintain the rostrum. Ah, ha, ha. Octavius. Damn it. Okay, I might have been mean to the wrong person. Wait. Come back. He looks at the screen like, what you want? Octavius. No. Oh, shit. I was saying the wrong thing. Get out of here. Ha. Dude, where did that guy come from? Get out of here. You're coming back. Dictator. Dictator. That's not good. Get out of here, Dictator. Come back, Civis. I don't... Wait, no, you don't go anywhere. I love these games. I love that I actually understand what I'm doing. Oh! There's so many of them. How do I defend the Cicero? It might be an endless game. The gang's all here. They are indeed. Wait, you guys come back. It might be an endless game. So these guys, the guys in red come and they're trying to destroy the Empire or something. The Empire is eternal. Boy, oh boy. This is so intense. Yeah, come here, tiny Cicero. So these are the consuls. So I need to keep the bad politicians away from the consuls. The consuls are important lawmakers, I assume. Wait, Quintinius Crescio, or Cicero, come. Cicero might not be a person. Cicero might be like a rank or something. The gang's all here. That was so funny. I just read it again. That gang is indeed all here. Why won't these red guys leave? Don't you go anywhere, Quintus Cicero. You know, nobody quite thinks like Catan. I give him that. Nobody thinks like him. And by many people's definitions, that's the definition of a genius. And I love the... Nobody. You must be low on stamina. I assume so, but I think my Respublica meter is going up. Oh, Quintinius Cicero, why are you sneaking off again? Don't you sneak off. I need your help in the political forum. Quintinius Cicero. Or Quintus. Yeah, help me. No, no I think I'm doing good. can't get rid of these red guys though. Lamau. Quaterius, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're just always trying to get away. Stop trying to leave. I see some red and yellow people on the horizon. I believe I won. Because the red aren't coming anymore. And I can't get rid of these red guys, so I'm assuming minus 59. I'm not sure what that means. But the Respublica meter is still going up. Wonderful. Well, I declare the Roman government saved. I'm not entirely sure what the scene is. From a narrative perspective, I think we won. I mean, I think we are. It's inevitable we will win because the Respublica meter is going up. Maybe it means we're losing, but I can't get rid of the red guys anymore. I've tried. And these guys don't leave even if I insult them, so. And over here, Quintus Cicero just always, like, not helping. Come back. I need you. Respublica delendais. Respublica delendais. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I actually thought that there was a penis there. Didn't want to get like banned banned on Twitch. I'm like yelling in this dude's ear and he's not leaving. Okay, the A is almost completely full. Quintus is, of course, trying to shirk off his duties. Dude, what are you doing? Stay there. Plot twist indeed. Are you here, Katon? Does the game end? I saved the Roman Republic. Victor S. Yeah, I just need to know the rules of the game. That was great. I don't think I'm not entirely sure what the scene was. I'll be completely honest with you. Okay, I'm gonna just Alt F4 because I couldn't. Exio didn't work. Did you? Was it kind of okay? So like, so the scene was. Let's try and figure it out. The scene was. I mean, I guess it wasn't a scene. It was more like a story. Because in the confusion to clarity, hopeless defeat to Victor S. But I think that, yeah, the emotional change was within me. So the, in my opinion, there was not a scene there. I don't think that this game was trying to be a scene. So, you know, whatever. But I don't think there was much of a scene there. I mean, we know nothing about the main character, right? We don't know who he is. Maybe he's Cicero. I have no idea. But I think that this could have a scene. I think that this narrative could absolutely be built up of scenes, because Catan describes it as a tower defense game, right? And the tower defense game can have scenes, and it can have emotional weight to it, right? Like there was a genuine moment of fear. I mean, it's fiction fear, but it was a genuine moment of fear when the 4 red guys were like, bang, they showed up, you know, and they were charging the rostrum, Rostas, I can't remember the name of it. But that stuff could all be in scene, right? It could all have it. But as far as like, just, you know, it's fun. It's a fun, silly game. I love that stuff. I just think if we knew more about the main character, if we knew more about who we were and what we were trying to do, like I appreciate the beginning where it's giving us a brief little history lesson / tutorial on how to play the game. A tutorial, the tables, those are a little confusing. I didn't know what they meant. Like the table with the point values. I mean, I understood that they correlated or corresponded to the point values that you get in the game based on repelling versus incoming, but I didn't understand them genuinely. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like, okay, this is what I need to do because of these tables. But I think knowing more about the protagonist, and I think it could actually be quite nice in this game if just give us like 2 minutes at the beginning to just talk to someone. Right? Talk to one of the consuls, just so we know why it's bad that the red toga men are coming. You know what I mean? Because then, and it could also, we could give the player character the emotional context of like why he doesn't, you know, where does he stand in this at the beginning? Is he sad about it? Is he excited to repel the red men, or does he have, you know, genuine fear for it? And all of that will lead to a bigger emotional payoff for actually repelling the red men. And that would also be how you would establish a scene structure, right? Like if the end of the game is a victory condition, a non-narrative victory condition, then what you should do is have a character feel defeated at the beginning, right? Because the natural state of a victory condition is the opposite of sadness. Defeated to victory. So adding that emotional context to the game would, I think, strengthen it a great deal. But I think it's clever. I mean, nobody, like I said, nobody thinks like Catan. You know, nobody, I don't think anybody on Earth has sat down and thought, I want to make a tower defense game where the goal is to save the Roman Republic by defending the consuls from the, you know, the political antithesis, you know, like the communists. We'll just call them the communists, right? Like, we're defending the democracy from the communists, and that's our tower defense game. You know, I don't think anybody thinks like that, and I love that about Catan, and I love that about his games. All right, so let's do the last game. Monochrome missing scene. .exe. Political reds. Yeah, I mean that's why I said communist, right? Like there was no more thought. Monochrome. Love that. That was fun. New game. Okay, let's track the scene. As the engine of my car roared to life, I blazed a path through the streets of Louisville, heading toward my home. The rumble of the exhaust was a pleasant sound, and my confidence that I would solve this case was quite high. My contact, Santos, would be emailing me tomorrow, and surely the mystery pamphlet which had been passed around, Kids Fan Con, would lead me to a kidnapping suspect. Okay, so we know exactly the emotional state of the character right now, right? He's confident. He's excited. He's all sorts of positive. So where are we going to be? Where are we going to be at the end? Because it would take roughly 10 minutes to get to my domicile, I lit a cigar, rolling down the window and basking in the sensation of the cool wind hitting my face. After a short while, I pulled up to my well-kept abode, ingesting a sense of positive confluence between the key and the lock as the normal clicking sound pervaded my auditory nerves. It's a A little wordy, but whatever. I mean, it fits the character. Hey, the apartment scene. I hope he has 7 Bibles. My home was sparse, relatively, and none too shabby, in my humble opinion. It wasn't the biggest place in the world, but it served its purpose as well, providing me with a sense of security and stability. I took off my shoes, nearly tripping over them in the process. Okay. We're going to have a little stumbling block coming up. It's an objective correlative. No one thinks I caught on. Mr. C is next. I was rather pleased that I'd cleaned the place up so well this morning. Not that I expected any company to just randomly pop in, but I figured that if I were to need to have a private meeting with someone such as my client, surely I'd be able to impress her. My mood continued to relax me. It seemed that coming home after a hard day at the office just melted away. The music is weird. Everything about this is weird. Away the stress of my job. Speaking of relaxation, I decided to grab a beer out of the fridge, debating on if I wanted to watch television or play around in my ham radio gear. For the moment, my curious nature won out as I elected to find out what relaxing things would project from the TV screen. I went over, clicking the analog on and off volume knob to activate to its active position as a pleasing sound started to emit from the speaker. Click. Ooh. I flipped through the channel, searching for something to bide my time with. For some reason, the knob that controlled the set felt sticky to me, as if there was some foreign substance upon it. Simultaneously, I got the distinct impression that I were being observed, albeit upon searching my house and checking the windows, I failed to find an intruder. Is this a clip of the stream? For an instant, I could swear that I felt a very clammy hand brush against the nape of my neck. Wow. I tried to distract myself with local programming. However, the only thing that I was able to pick up was a forecast from the Weather Channel. And even that seemingly innocent distraction brought me to no solace. This is fucking weird. I'm afraid because reading requires a lot of attention on the eye, with the eye, so I was afraid that there was going to be a jump scare there, which would have been a good idea, by the way, making me focus really hard on the reading. Still might come. This is great, by the way. The music is so good in this. Okay. My hands fidgeted with the television knob, attempting to move the dial back to the off position. Finally, the knob clicked, shutting the unit off as I let out a I decided to change my strategy, making my way over to my ham radio desk. You know what's interesting to me? That all of this was tied to him tripping over his shoes. Like, if we want to get, like, narrative nerd here, I think that tripping over the shoes thing is actually really, really, really telling, right? So he's so confident. He's so excited. He's so happy about being able to break the case, all of these things. He's excited about maybe being able to press a girl, but it's all fake. Why is it fake? The shoes told us it was fake. One teeny little stumbling block sent this whole thing spiraling out of control. Taking a seat at my station, I flipped the radio equipment on, letting the glass tubes warm up. Static brought the unit to life as pleasing white noise infiltrated my ears. My hand gripped tightly around the base of a large desk microphone, nervously. Now he's nervous. Radio waves are a funny thing. At certain frequencies, they tend to bounce around the planet on an atmospheric layer known as the ionosphere. However, part of those electromagnetic fields can sometimes be lost to the void of space, making their way outward from our planet, expanding into the infinite unknown. I proceeded to make a general hail, better known as CQ, giving out my amateur radio call sign. At that moment, I realized my lapse in judgment and error due to my increasing paranoia. I had inadvertently pointed my directional antenna straight up at the heavens. Oh, that's a creepy face that Rinzai just posted. Chatted, I guess. The microphone became saturated with sweat as it shook in my palm. That's a good line. And the uneven amount of pressure exerted upon it caused it to tip over. A vision seared into my mind, freezing me in place as I struggled to restore the mic to an upright position, as if that could somehow negate the trembling which rippled over me, an earthquake pulsating throughout my being. I began seeing this terrible behemoth in my brain while hearing its will and conveyances through my speakers. This should have been in the game. I paused, weighing my options, and my survival instincts won out after a few minutes, warning me that my life would be squashed like a bug if I failed to respond to the entity. Grasping the microphone for dear life, I keyed it up, terrified. Yes, I said hesitantly and unassured, unable to form a more elaborate, coherent response. It was then that I was privy to the true nature of my surroundings. Terrible currents squirming. Okay, this is called anagnoresis, by the way. Terrible currents squirming and wriggling like tentacles rode over my radio equipment. Just as disquieting were the splatters and pools of blood dripping down the walls and upon the floor from various objects around the room, and the nausea manufactured in my stomach from the scent of rotting, maggot-bearing pieces of flesh overwhelmed my olfactory organs. My nose. You can just say my nose. The television, or my smell, my sense of smell. The television lit up of its own accord, blaring loudly as I caught sight of disturbingly bizarre imagery being displayed upon the hemoglobin-spattered screen. Awesome. Oh, shit went really wrong. Yeah, Mr. C is real talented at this shit, right? Like, he's really good at this. I don't know what it is, but it's just this shit. So glad he came part of the VJG, the WJG. Germans pronounce W as V. Hysterical and on the verge of madness-induced fit, I scrambled to the television and unplugged the electrical cable from the wall. It continued showing disjointed horrors for a few seconds, thereafter ceasing and finally going dark. The visions of an omniscient creature, which I had viewed in my brain, speaking to me in reply in a chorus of voices, continued to plague my thoughts. The best I could describe the gargantuan thing, it appeared as a conglomeration of smaller orbs which constantly shifted and with constantly shifting surfaces, amorphous in their features, with complex patterns that at times shifted to terrifying eyes, mouths, and teeth, and a larger sphere which was part of them all. In fact, it was not lucid if all of the spheres were one being. It was not known, I'm assuming is what he meant by lucid. Many are both at the same juncture. In absolute fear, I ran to my bed, downing a sleeping pill and pulling the covers over my head as if I were a small child, terrified of the proverbial monster in the closet, though in this case, the monster seemed to be quite real. The following morning, I awoke, grabbing my work. Okay, so this will be interesting. My work-related items and fleeing from my house, which bore no notion of the grotesque horrors from the previous evening. Had I imagined it all? I muttered under my breath. As I made the drive to work, I somehow remembered my case and that Santos was supposed to email me a copy of the flyer today. My nerves calmed themselves over time. The chorus of the voices from the godlike entity were no longer coming through any sort of electronic medium. Instead, they were blasting directly into my feeble mind, a mind whose memories of the previous evening were transplanted with false ones temporarily, because that was then. I mean, with a little bit of scaling back some of the information, and this is now, like, I think that this scene should have been in the game. It should have been in like the full Monochrome game. And then just scale back and don't have this little coda at the end. This is a coda. This little ending piece where he's like ended at him going to bed, and then the next scene begins with "Had I imagined it all?" in the next morning, right, where he's like the apartment looked normal. Had I imagined it all? This right here is what's called a coda in storytelling. A coda is like a summation of what you were supposed to feel when you read it, right? A coda is very often used incorrectly at the ends of scenes. A tale to your tale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's used incorrectly with scenes to give them a sense of finality, right? And that's part of the problem with them, is that we feel like we need to put a coda in, otherwise it didn't end, right? But a scene doesn't need to end in the way that a story needs to end. A scene just ends when the character's emotion changes, when the character has gone into their resolution form of "I am now terrified. I am terrified." End of scene. The next scene begins the next morning when he is terrified and he peeks out of his door and he sees that everything's normal, right? Now he's a mixture of terrified and confused. And then he goes out and then he goes about the next scene and he changes again. He goes from terrified, confused to a little bit of clarity, and then a reassurance of himself, like, well, I was on drugs last night, or whatever. But this is like, I mean, it's fine, but this is what this is. This is a coda, is a kind of like a, and here's the cherry that goes on top of the ice cream. Now it's a sundae. You know what I mean? You don't need it. You don't need to make it a sundae. Just let it be. Ice cream's good. And you don't want to tell the readers how they were supposed to interpret the narrative. Almost ever. I mean, most of the time readers just kind of want to just make sense of it themselves, right? They go, wow, that was fucking weird. I bet there's something wrong with him. And we don't need to be told, like, by the way, there's something wrong with him. You know what I mean? I don't think that this is bad. I think the writing's good. I think that, I mean, like I said, Mr. C is incredibly good at just this shit. Like, he's just really good at these weird, like, making a visual novel not feel like a visual novel. He makes it feel like it's something else. I don't know. It's just like this weird, kind of, everything I've ever seen from Mr. C feels like it's like I found it on some old website that doesn't get used anymore, and it's like in a forum, and all the links don't work in the forum anymore, but like this one file is still downloadable. Like, that's what everything from Mr. C feels like. And it's great. It like works so well for him. But I just needed to use this as an example because I haven't been able to talk about codas yet. That's exactly it totally is, right? Like it's just exactly what his shit is. But I haven't gotten a chance to talk about codas yet. This is a perfect example of a coda. Okay. I think we made it. I'm out of time. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to play the last game, but I'll play it eventually. It'll happen. I'm excited about that, guys. About y'all's project. It's cool. So I'll play it soon. But I think next week I'm gonna do some Bloodborne. We're gonna like watch somebody play Bloodborne because I'm not playing it. The Hallow Squeen or whatever it was, the other game you asked me to play. I'm not gonna play it tonight. The one that you did with Mr. C, Indisposed. That you did that with Mr. C. Yes, I'm not crazy. I have it downloaded. Right. Okay. I'm assuming you mean right in regards to that you did it with Mr. C. So yeah, I'm excited to do that, but I think what I'm going to do, because I haven't even put him another jam yet, so I think it's fun. I think what I'll do is I'll watch somebody play Bloodborne on stream, so I'm going to pull up a video of it or something so that I can talk about it. Because I think that there's a lot that everyone can learn from Bloodborne. All of them from Software games, but Bloodborne in particular. And then I'll play Indisposed, and then we'll just keep going from there. Eventually, I'll put up the next jam when I'm a little more settled with this new schedule. My days are super busy now. It's 4 hours a day. This language class, this German class, 4 hours. It's a 4-hour class every day. It's crazy. A lot of German. Viele Deutsch. But yeah, that is all from me. I'll see you on Discord, and the VOD will be up in an hour and a half, depending on how long it takes to upload. So, yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for stopping by the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. And that also concludes Narrative Game Jam number 2. Completely. We are done with Narrative Game Jam number 2. And I'm thinking I'm thinking what we could do soon too is like, I think what I would really like for at least a little while, we'll start doing jams again, but I think what would be fun is if anytime somebody just finishes something that they've done, just send it. Just send it over. Send me the link. Because I feel like I could always fit in some kind of game in a stream, but like, I mean, we're going on almost a month of doing Game Jam number 2. I'm almost done. And I think it would be I think it could be fun if just, because we have a lot of super prolific people in the Discord anyway, and you guys are already making a bunch of shit anyway. Yeah, exactly. Like June Cartographer is going to be done with something pretty soon, right? So they can just send it to me when it's done, and then we can do it on stream. We can talk about it, right? I also want to, I might be able to get Pinkney back on soon. I've been talking to him recently about coming on and doing some streams. I think he would very specifically want to do streams about y'all's games. I don't think he has any interest in talking about like professional, like big development studio games. I don't think he has that much of an interest in it. He's much more interested in single developer, small teams, that kind of thing. He's much more interested in that. So I think I might be able to get him back on to talk some games with me. I also think it would be really fun to do interviews, kind of like almost like what I did with my game, where I was like describing the exact reasons I was doing the things that I was doing. Does that make sense? So like when I played my game, I went through every thought that I had while making it. Every single reasoning I had for the things that I did. And I think that would be really fun to do with the creators themselves if they were interested in doing it. Now, I totally get it. Some people have no interest in, I mean, you don't ever have to be on a webcam. I totally get that some people have no interest in like being live on the internet talking at all. And so that's fine. But if you were interested in it, I think it could be kind of fun. Like, for example, yeah, like a creator's commentary, totally. Because then, I don't know, I just think it would be beneficial. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it would be fun to hear the thought process of the person who made the thing rather than it's just always me talking. Because I think, like, I mean, that podcast that I did years and years ago is totally gone. Like, it's scrubbed from the internet. But one of the things I do really miss about the podcast was interviewing people. And like, I never really interviewed anybody like, you know, I never interviewed like a politician or like a news person. Or you like to write your commentary. I never interviewed anybody. Like, I just interviewed like my friends or like people who I thought were interesting. Like I met some guy at a bar who was he was a train conductor, and I was like, I need to know what that's like. So I invited him on my podcast, and I just interviewed him about being a train conductor. And man, that life was nuts. It was crazy. It was so interesting. So I think it could be fun with a more directed conversation, right? Like, we know what we're doing at WJG. We know what we're doing. We're talking about games. We're talking about narrative games. We're talking about how to make games better. We're talking about how to make narratives in games better, right? So I think it could be kind of fun. But it's down the road. I also, because like I want to interview Two Links. I want to talk to Two Links about the game he and I made together, almost like a post-mortem. You know, there's like those post-mortems all over like WGCs. She's making faces at me again. But I love postmortems. I think they're so interesting, so fascinating to watch because they're like, I also love that they're called postmortems. Like, I love how game designers talk about games, their own games, where they're like, it's dead now. We're doing an autopsy on it. Because let me tell you, writers don't think that way. Or, I mean, maybe the pro writers do, but the like my precious little short story writers, they don't think that way. They think of it as like a child. And if you say anything bad about it, you're telling them their child is stupid. Anyway, I've already gone 10 minutes over the time that I said I was going to leave, so I'm going to leave now. But yeah, keep that in mind for the future. These are the things that I'm thinking about in the future of WJG. More stuff like, go look at Neophyte Studios' YouTube channel where we interviewed Catan. We interviewed Catan for Neophyte, and that was a blast. It was one of the most fun streams that I'd done, was talking to Etienne. Oh, sorry, Catan. Talking to Etienne about his game. He did a little slideshow. It was amazing. I loved it. And yeah. So go take a look at that to kind of see what I'm thinking about. And now goodbye. Tschüss, as the Germans say. I'm going to try and write. You're very welcome, Dream Cartographer. Goodbye.